What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I hope you guys had a good holiday season and welcome to 2018. Last year I made a trip to Dubai to experience riding in the sand dunes of the desert, and while I was there my weapon of choice was the KTM 450 EXC-F. If you're wondering why it took so long for the review to come out, it is really because I wanted to take the time to do some research by speaking to other owners of the 2016 KTM 450 on forums and suss out their opinions on long-term reliability and maintenance, in addition to my own opinions of its ride quality. Now, let's get started a bit on the performance aspect of the 450. Powered by a single cylinder, liquid cooled, fuel injected 4-stroke, I have the impression of the 450 as being a pretty twitchy machine. In first gear, a slight half twist of the throttle is enough to drag you up a very steep incline, or in my case, pretty steep dunes. Fuel injection does make the power pretty consistent throughout once brought up to speed, and it is aided by a 6-speed transmission that keeps its twitchiness at hand at any speed. And in my particular opinion, not exactly the easiest machine to handle for an absolute beginner. So long story short, is it fast? Hell yeah, it is fucking fast. The 450 EXC is also a bloody lightweight bike for its displacement, coming in at roughly 110 kilos dry, and most of the weight feels closer to the center, making the handling a bit floaty at times in soft terrain. Compared to the more common Japanese dual sports you would find in Singapore and Malaysia like the DRZ400SM or KLX 250, the factory seat feels a tad bit higher. It is also not exactly what I would call plush or comfortable by dual sport standards either. The foot pegs also sit pretty high up on the bike, not really adding much more discomfort for all but the tallest rider, but does help in ground clearance when climbing ground obstacles. Now, if I had one complaint about the bike's features, it would probably be the lackluster speedometer that is present on all KTM enduro bikes, that really doesn't show anything more than your speed and odometer in a ridiculously tiny and hard to read space. For someone who is sort of an information junkie, I would much rather replace it with a Trailtech Vapor as soon as I can. Oh yeah, it also comes with fat bars. Stop. The suspension on the bike is also surprisingly great on stock settings for my 80kg frame, gliding through the multiple bumps in the dunes without really feeling much of it at all through the butt while seated. The front suspension though is probably a tad bit stiff and not very good at hitting large bumps head on, and it has caused me to bounce and fly off the bike on a couple of occasions. Brakes in general feel pretty good for a dual sport, not too strong up front and not too weak either. A 2-finger grip in general is really enough to work the brakes most of the time. The hydraulic clutch does take getting used to when feeling the biting point, especially for the vast majority of us who usually ride with cable operated clutches. But in general, I think they are much better than cables for its lighter pull. Maintenance wise, this is probably where it kind of falls flat against its Japanese competitors. Speaking to other owners, the 450 EXC tends to be a bit tougher and expensive to maintain in general. You're looking at an oil change roughly every 15 to 20 hours of continuous riding, or about 1,000 miles, depending on how you ride, compared to the 2,500 to 3,000 miles you can easily get away with on a DRZ. Also expect to do an engine rebuild every 15,000 to 20,000 miles as well. This could easily mean a rebuild every single year for more avid riders. As mentioned, the clutch is hydraulically operated, and while there is no need to replace snapped cables, Regular checking and maintaining of fluid levels is necessary, and if the lines or cylinder are damaged in a crash, you know how much repairing brake lines in general would cost compared to a cable. The tires used on this bike were Metzeler MC4, though that's not the stock tire. They are pretty good and give amazing traction even in the sand. However, my guide did say they don't exactly last long, probably only lasting roughly 800 to 1000 miles before they start fading off. Now for the sound test. So at the end of the day, for a review, most people are gonna ask, seriously, what are the cons about this bike? Replying to that, compared to what? But the thing is, I really can't think of many, at least compared to other off-road 450s and 400s. There are some differences, but not really anything worse that comes to mind. Oh wait, small fuel tank. At the end of the day, it is a great bike, but not something I'd recommend anyone who hasn't had a bit more experience riding off-road should buy straight away, and certainly not something I'd recommend for myself either, as it is probably just wasted potential. Anyway, if you like this video and would like to support my channel for more future videos, links are in the description below, and remember to subscribe as usual, and as always, I will see you next time. Peace out, bros!